What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Season 7, Episode 5 of the Husky Fat Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan. To my right, the eighth wonder of the world. Y'all know him. We love him. Mr. Scott motherfucking Jones! Who? Scott Jones! What's up, man?
Not a whole lot, man. How we doing on a rainy Tuesday?
Man, just trying to get a bunch of computer work done and stuff like that done, trying to get ready for these fights that we got coming up.
Yeah, man. It's a lot. We got a lot to do still. We got a lot of ground to cover. We've got obviously the big show coming up May 31st.
Yes, sir.
And I work constantly. We're always working here, so we're constantly in the works for the next big show. After that, rumor has it we're going to be making a debut in Fort Worth for another official K1 sanctioned show.
Man, that's going to be awesome. It's really cool as well, just because you can see where we started at and where we're growing to be and where we're continuing to grow and grow and grow. And, down to Ardmore, and now we're going down to Fort Worth area, so it's really cool.
Yes, sir. We're rocking and rolling. We got a couple things to hit on today. We do have a guest coming in a little bit later on here in the podcast. She is going to be one side of our, and I haven't even got the fight thing lined up right now. See, once you put on as many good fights as we do, it's hard for me to say what's the main event and what's the co-main event. I haven't even figured that out yet because, honestly, the two main fights we have on this card are main event worthy, but we have Liz, the Heathen Helton coming on, Elizabeth Helton. She's the other half fighting Warhorse, fighting Christina Williams. She'll be on here about 120 or so, 115, 120, somewhere in there. So we're excited to get to talk to her. We're going to hear about her martial arts story. I know a little bit about it already. I can tell you guys are going to be impressed. I mean, she's fought all over the place. This is actually her pro debut, but she's one of these amateurs that's fought worldwide, won national titles, won World Waco championships, made the championships at Waco, won the title there. She's had a lot of fights, a lot of experience, and, man, I'm excited to watch her perform in the ring come May 31st.
No, it's definitely going to be exciting, bringing in different talent, new talent, people who have fought, like you said, all over the world. Being able to get them on a Husky Fat card just shows kind of the testament of who we are and what we are as Husky Fat. We like to bring high-level fights to the community wherever it is that we're going. We don't want to just have some middle-of-the-road type card that we put together. We're always trying to put together the best card that we possibly can, and I think it shows on every card that we have. High-level fighters, whether it's our Dog Pound series, whether it's the main card or our big shows and everything like that, you can always guarantee that it's going to be a eventful card.
Man, I was ready. We were a few picks away, but I was ready to put in an offer to try to draft Shedeur Sanders. Here at Husky Fat, I would have drafted.
We're starting this already.
I would have drafted Shedeur.
Just right into it.
I would have. No, I'm not saying we don't need to hit on the NFL draft right away. But I'm just saying, a kid of that athletic caliber coming from that kind of pedigree, I figured we could have found something for doing Husky Fat. He may not have got paid quite as much money as he was hoping for.
I don't know.
We threw our mini footballs last fight.
Yeah, I think we got more.
His just would have been a check down.
He would have looked to hit the running back.
That was cold.
Cold-blooded, man. Cold-blooded. Well, now, we'll talk a little bit NFL draft later, man. What I was wanting to hit on, and Josh, if he's got the lineups, I've promised this, and now we're finally starting to work on a little bit. We're going to come out with some official Husky Fat rankings today. We're not hitting all the divisions. We're hitting, but we are hitting some of it. So we do have our official, we're just starting in the amateurs today. We're going to work our way up. We've got our official Husky Fat rankings for the amateur heavyweight division, and we got our official Husky Fat rankings for the division that I've been going on and on about, just loaded with talent, and that's the featherweight division, the 145 division. So, Josh, which one you got first that you can bring up here?
If you give me 3 seconds.
Yeah, I got to see him because I don't even know. I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I would say that we all the minds got together and put together what we thought was the best, but no, what really happened is Scott just did it.
I mean,
just sat down here and
he's the mastermind behind all this. He knows these fighters better than anyone. I'm still learning a lot of stuff in the fight game. I will say that I've come a long way, starting to learn who these fighters are. You hear these fighters' names and you recognize them. I'm able to, each fight that you see, you pick up on, okay, originally I'd be like, all right, this guy landed the bigger shots, but he only landed like 2 big shots, so you'd kind of think that, okay, they probably won the round. But now I start to see a lot of stuff where it's, okay, now just because he landed 2 shots, what was the other guy doing? Was he continuing to put the pressure on him, forcing the other guy to fight defensive, and he just threw some defensive strikes or a counter strike that kind of landed? But now what have they done in order to actually, transition and be able to win that round, even though they didn't land massive shots, but they still controlled the round? So it's really cool to be able to continue to grow in this and see new things each time that we're out there.
Man, I feel like you got really analytical with that, to be honest with you. That was a pretty good breakdown right there. Yeah, no,
Let's go with the Emmys first.
Yeah, all right, let's throw them up. We've got official amateur rankings for the 145-pound division. Our current champ is Emmanuel Blunt, Nigel. He goes by Nigel Blunt, out of Texas out there. He won his belt in November. We are looking to see him. He's looking to defend that belt in July. We've got a few things that's got to happen before then, and then if you look down the other rankings we have, the things that basically I took in consideration is, one, obviously you had to have fought for Husky Fat within the last 2 years. You had to have fought for Husky Fat at least once. Now, granted, these rankings they're going to expand. They're going to get bigger. The more fighters we put on, the more fights we have going on with this thing. But we've got to start somewhere. So we've got Nigel. He's the current champ. Nathan Lear. Actually, I had it as Nathan Lear and Scott Reinhart tied for the number 1 contender spot, but it got corrected to Reinhart being number 2 there, so that's fine. But they're both basically neck and neck on this thing. Lear's earned his way. His last 2 fights have come against tough opponents, and he stopped them both. So he is next in line for a title fight. He will be fighting on the May 31st card. So his fight is right in line to announce here shortly. So we're excited to have him on that. So expect to see Lear there. Reinhart right behind him. Reinhart, once again, he's got the same record in Husky Fat as Lear does. Reinhart just went and won a medal in Waco as well on top of that. So Reinhart is, I believe he's 6-1 right now. If we count, which we do, we count the Waco medals, him winning 3 fights in that one weekend for Waco. Mateos is right behind him. Scotty beat Mateos, I believe. It was a pretty back and forth fight. That was at the Guthrie venue, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yep. So we got Lear, we got Reinhart, we got Mateos, Nick Stokes. Nick Stokes right now is he's looking for his first win in Husky Fat, but he's fought nothing but top competition, right? He's fought he fought Blunt on short notice. Went to decision. He fought Reinhart. Reinhart didn't go his way. Ended up losing a decision on that. But let me shut my phone off right here. So, Lawson Jackson. This is when we start getting the guys that hadn't fought in a while.
I was going to say, I don't know if I just
remember
off the top of my head.
Jackson.
I remember vaguely, but it's one of those things too. You see their names again, and you start to kind of remember everything like that.
The other thing I take in consideration also is, even if they haven't fought in Husky Fat, if they've still been active and still fighting, Lawson, he's out of the Dallas area. He fights at De La Rosa MMA, and he won his first fight in Husky Fat February of last year. He actually knocked out Nathan Lear, right? Now, the reason why he's not higher is he hadn't fought in Husky Fat since then. But he knocked out Nathan Lear. That's the only loss on Lear's record. And since then, he's able to string. I believe he's on a couple-fight winning streak right now. He's been fighting mostly MMA. I think he had an amateur boxing fight that he won and stuff too. But he's been on a winning streak in MMA. I think he's got an MMA fight coming up here soon. But we've talked to his coach. We've talked to his parent, his dad as well. We're going to see Lawson back in Husky Fat soon. So Lawson's ranked number 5. Number 6, just to round it out, we got Nash Malakdan. He also fought in that same February card. He won via stoppage. He's out of the war room, or at least he was. I don't know if he's still training there or not. I'll have to get with Coach Wright on that. But he's another 145er, won by stoppage. I want to say it was either the first or second round on that February card in Ardmore, where we had 482 fights.
Yeah,
I remember that fight. That was.
Yeah. No, that was a nasty fight. That was against King. I can't remember his first name, but a guy with a really long neck. But anyway, he's a good fighter too. There's just no other way to describe the guy. This guy's got a long neck.
Neck.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I judge people by their necks, man. There was somebody that came in the other day that had no neck on him whatsoever, man.
Tough to knock those ones out.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
It's just all tucked in there, just like.
Your 145 to 145 pound division. That's the first rankings, top 5. So
It's a packed division. High level fighters you get in that one. So anyone, especially, I mean, the last 4 up there all fought last fight card on the dog pound.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Continuing to show out, get you a shot at that title to try to beat Nigel.
And Nigel didn't. It seems like Nigel's had such a long layoff, but he really hasn't. He hadn't fought since he fought in November, right? Yeah. We've only had 2 cards. We've only had 2 cards this year.
6
yeah,
months
so it's not. He's been active too. Just these other guys have been a little bit busier than him. But anyways, we're welcome to all feedback. We're welcome to feedback, comments, whether you like it, you hate it, you don't give a shit. We don't give a shit that you don't give a shit, but still,
tell us
you're
what
welcome
it is.
to tell us that. Tell us what it is. Yep. So we got one more division that we ranked, and we're just going to keep doing this as the weeks go, and we're going to start updating them on the website. We're going to be professional and shit about this. So up next, we're doing our AMI heavyweight rankings, which does seem pretty relevant because we've got a heavyweight title fight we just announced for May 31st. If you look up there, the champ, Dale Turner, he won his belt on the road to Tokyo, beat Colton Curry in a tough. It was a barn burner fight, man. It was first two rounds I thought went to Dale. Second 2 rounds I think went to Colton. 5th round I think Dale landed a little bit of the bigger shots to edge it out, but it was close. It was a close fight. So Dale's the champ. Everybody's got to come through the champion. So we got Dale at heavyweight. He's sitting there. I want to say he's 3-1. He's 3-1 in Husky fat. AJ Ray, and that's the fight. That's who Dale's going to be fighting for the belt coming up here on May 31st. Hold on a minute. Speak freely, Dylan.
I mean, this fight should be an exciting fight just because, AJ just put on a show. He's put on a show twice in the
2 KOs, round 1.
And so, I mean, I'm excited for this fight. Dale obviously is technical behind everything, he can go the distance. So I'm curious to see what AJ can do if he doesn't get Dale out of there the first round. Is he going to be able to go deep into those rounds? Because it's a title fight.
Oh yeah.
That's a 5-round fight. So is AJ going to be able to, I'm not saying that he's not, but I mean, we personally haven't seen him into deep waters. So is Dale going to drag him into those deep waters?
He's going to have to figure it out. AJ jumped the line a little bit based on being active and based on how he's finished his fights. He's a big guy. There's no getting around it. The guy's massive. Dale is more a technician. He's got a little bit more experience, but Dale only has 2 more fights than him. So it's not like they've got a bunch. There's a big variance between fight deals. But yes, you're absolutely right. Dale's going to have to weather that initial onslaught by AJ, and AJ's going to have to make sure his cardio is on point to be ready to go into those deep waters if he can't get him out of the way early, like he's had the first 2. So I'm really stoked about that fight. I feel like that's about as good of an amateur heavyweight title fight that you can make in this area right now.
I agree.
So we're stoked for that. Number 2 is our boy Austin Tynes. Austin's right there, man. Austin. Actually, if he hadn't been inactive a little bit here recently, he would be right up there also. He was actually scheduled to fight. He was going to fight for the title belt, but work constraints, he wasn't able to train, and so Dale ended up getting the nod. And that's just because Austin's fought for us a little bit longer. He's had a few more fights in the – actually, I don't think he's had more fights in the promotion than Dale has. He's just fought for us longer, like he's been on some of our older shows. But so Austin's right there. When Austin gets trained and get active, he's going to get right back in the mix. Colton, like I said, man, that wasn't really it was a great fight by him. He's 1-1 here in Husky Fat. The skyscraper, Colton. Yeah. Cowboy, what do they call him? Killer Colton Curry or Cowboy Colton Curry?
Well, I think it's Killer Colton Curry, but you gave him the Cowboy, so he goes by either one. I'm pretty sure I was talking to him about that last time in the Norman show.
I think Cowboy Colton Curry sounds better.
I mean, he wears the cowboy hat and everything like that to it. So, I mean, either one, whatever he wants me to call him when I'm introducing him, I'll call him. But I like the Cowboy as well.
I do, too.
He's a Montana boy. He's a country boy.
I do, too. My boy Nestor Bravo coming in at number 4. He's right there.
Nestor.
He's right there. That kid's a killer. That kid's a kid. Don't let the height fool you. Just because he's a short man don't mean he won't kick you in the head. He'll kick you in the head. He's coming in at number 4. Riley, he's a lot like Nick Stokes, where he's only fought tough guys. He hasn't got a win yet in Husky Fat, but both guys he's fought are right up there in the they're right up there in the top five. You know, he fought Colton Curry and he fought Austin Tynes, and ended up going to decision on both of them. So he's tough as nails. We're looking to try to get Riley a fight at. He may be dropping down to light heavyweight. We'll have to see, but we're looking at getting him a fight coming up here May 31st. So hopefully we'll hear something today on that. So. Excited to see it, man. So there we have it. This is our breakdown. This is our very first rankings. We've got our 2 amateur division rankings. There's more rankings, more divisions to come as we go. So stay tuned on that.
No, hey, can we pull that graphic back up? I want to hit on something real quick.
All right.
I know, stay tuned because I know we're in the works of making new apparel outside our basic Husky Fat shirts that we have, so stay tuned to that. But also, that graphic of that Husky right there, that's dope.
It looks just like a mean motherfucker.
It does.
Man.
It's kind of like a puppyish looking, but at the same time, like, that's dope.
Yeah,
I appreciate that
The
one right there.
scars is what
Yeah.
does it for me. That's
Yeah, I fuck with that one.
You're mean, man. All
Yeah.
right. We got, sounds like we got a guest ready, Josh. We got a guest in here? All right. Let's bring her on. We have with us, we have the Waco World Champion. We have the IKF, a bunch of belts that I'm going to let her explain to us because she's got so many it's hard for me to keep track with. We got Liz, the Heathen Helton, in the house. Liz, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
We can hear you now. We're doing well. We're doing well. Thank you for taking time out of your afternoon to join us, man. We're excited to have you on.
For sure. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Well, let's get right into it. People around here and people nationally are stoked for this fight. I've got to be honest with you. I'm proud of my one. I want to give props to you guys for reaching out to me. And I'm proud of myself for being able to put this thing together, man. I'm as excited for this matchup as I have been for a bout that I've put together in the 4 years that we've been doing this. We have Liz, the Heathen Helton, fighting Christina Warhorse Williams on May 31st there at the Oklahoma City Convention Center for the 125-pound flyweight championship. Liz, let's just get right into it. Start with... Tell me a little bit. I want to hear a little bit about your martial arts background, what got you into it. But first off, let's just get right into it. If you have to name the toughest fight that you've had, I know you've had a lot of fights. Is there one fight that comes to mind that you have to think about, win or lose, that you thought, wow, that really, you either turned a corner in that fight or afterwards you got left shaking your head thinking, man, that was a fight. Who was the opponent and what was that like?
Yeah, so you know what, I would actually have to say that I've had two. So I'm sorry, I have 42 fights total. So I had a lot of competition in my life, but two that really I think took me to new levels. I would say when I fought for the United States IKF title, I fought Teresa Bronco out of Minnesota, and she presented me with a real tough challenge. I feel like I had to really dig deep. 5-round fight. No gear, and we're just winging punches and kicks, and and I just remember in that 5 round being like, I don't know who, if she's winning, I don't know if I'm winning. We just have to meet in the center and go for it. And I ended up edging out the win, but that was a super tough fight. I felt like it was one of those fights where it's like you won, but you have to go back and you have to watch it and you have to pick it apart and you have to figure out the areas of growth. And that's what I did. And I would say my last fight was in Portugal at the World Championships. For kickboxing, and I fought Stella Hemsberger. You might not know who that is. She's actually making a go at it in one right now in Europe. Stella's like freaking famous. She's the number one girl in the world, fighting out of Austria, and we went 3 rounds. I wound up losing on points, but just fighting somebody at that level and of that caliber was a great experience for me, and I really got to walk away knowing who I am, knowing that I belonged in there, and and also really growing from that. So
Awesome. No, she's faced world championship level competition. That's what I've I've explained to everybody, just because this is her pro debut, it's very similar to a few of the fighters that we had in our Road to Tokyo tournament. We had Mason Strodeman making his pro debut. We had, I know your friend and teammate Jason Jones. He'd made his pro debut before, but he was most of his experience was in the amateurs, not in the pros. These amateurs are tough, man. People like her who's traveled around the world to fight the best of the best. There's not a whole lot of there's some adjustments going from no gear, having gear, and then going to no gear, which she sounds like she's already had a few fights no gear anyways. But there is some adjustments, man. But just the level of competition that these amateurs are facing. If you're going to travel, it's one thing if you're just taking club show after club show. But if you're going to travel, man, the amateurs and the competition that they're facing is top level. Speaking of gear versus no gear, is there a difference? Is there a difference in how you approach it without the shin pads on?
Yeah, so I do want to just kind of comment on something that you said though. In Europe, we don't fight amateurs. So the people that we fight at world tournaments are all professional fighters, sometimes with hundreds of fights. So while this is my pro debut in the United States, the only difference between the competition that I've faced there and here is that I'm maybe getting a paycheck for this one. That's I mean that's really it. So and when and for gear no gear, yeah, I've had a couple fights no gear. I've had and a couple of them actually 5 rounders as well. So in terms of like is it different, yeah, I mean it is different because in kickboxing overseas, it's I mean yes it's hard and aggressive and we're looking to hurt people, but we're also scoring points. So I'm more likely to really be focused on volume, um and just looking to make those points happen. When you take off the gear, that's I mean that's where I enjoy being able to be a little bit more tricky. I like to mix things up. I like to look for the shots. Anybody that's worked with me knows that I like to set things up and find my openings. So I think that's the difference for me. So it's not so much you watch a fight of mine overseas, you're going to see a lot of check kick, 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 check, return, things like that. You watch some of my fights here, no gear, you're going to see a lot more movement, a lot more make them miss, make them pay kind of behavior. So.
Awesome. There is a little bit different strategy to it because you can I mean as you know I don't have to tell you but for the people who don't know you can take damage without those shin pads on. You can take damage checking kicks, or if you don't check kicks, you check them the wrong way, you can take damage throwing a kick if they check it right. So there's a little bit more strategy that goes involved. What's the coolest place you fought at overseas, United States, wherever? What would you give me the coolest place and then the one absolute sketchy shithole that you thought, oh Jesus, am I going to make it out of here alive? Give me both.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah. So my coolest place, actually, I would say Brazil, and mostly it's because people. Well, first off, I got my gold medal in Brazil, so that's always going to have a special place in my heart. But we were in this like small community. I think it's called Cavascal or something like that, and uh, I remember like getting done fighting and going to cut weight for the next fight, and there's like a little waterfall we're running by, and families come out in the evening and they're all hanging out, and we're just I don't know, there was just something about the culture and it being in Brazil that was just one of my absolute favorite places. It is also really beautiful out there. Portugal is also really beautiful. um on the flip side, so my very first time overseas, I went to Bosnia, and and I didn't really know what to expect. But Bosnia is still pretty war torn, and when they told us, they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys are going to be competing in the old, where we did the Olympics," and I was like, "Oh, that's neat. We're going to be in the place where they did the Olympics." Well, they didn't, that I didn't really look it up, and so you get there and then you find out that the Olympics were there in 1984, and they haven't updated that building not one time since. And so the first day they like ran out of toilet paper, and it's hot, and there's not a lot of there's not a lot of emissions regulations and things, and people are smoking cigarettes everywhere, and it's just, Bosnia was kind of wild. I'm not gonna lie. So it was a huge culture shock, and I wasn't going anywhere without a group of people. That's for sure. I mean, they're still recovering from the war in the '90s. A lot of their buildings, still have bullet holes and things like that in there.
That is
Crazy.
great. Is there, you've had so many fights and fought in different places all over the world. Does it take a little bit more to get you motivated, or are you just as motivated for your 43rd fight as you were for your first fight?
No, I think motivation ebbs and flows. I think that I keep changing up my track, and that's why. So, I started out as a boxer. So of those 42 fights, I want to say 18 or 20 of them, something like that, are boxing. So I started out as a boxer, and I had a good time. I made a little run at Chicago Golden Gloves, and did some fun stuff, and then I moved into kickboxing because I wanted that challenge. I did pretty good in the beginning of kickboxing. I think I went like 7 or 8-0 right off the bat, and then I got selected to go to Bosnia in 2019 for the World Championships, and I got smashed. Like I at that point, so I have like over 20 fights. I'd never even been dropped in a fight. I'd never had a TKO. I've never been finished. Nothing like that. I went over there, and my first pick, it was the number one girl in the world out of Turkey, and I can remember being like, man, I'm just gonna knock this girl out. I like looked at her. I was like, I'm hitting her and putting her down, and and in that fight, I mean, right in the first round, you could see it. She hit me, and I remember stepping back, being like, "What in the hell was that?" And so she ended up being the first woman to drop me, and my first finish. She fit. Well, I've actually never been finished since then. So the only time I've ever been TKO'd in a fight, she dropped me 3 times in 2 rounds. And for me, I just remember being like, there's a whole level of competition that I hadn't reached, it just made me want to be so much better, and I wanted to do it again, and then I wanted to medal, and have all those things. And so when I got my gold medal at the Pan Americans, then I was like, I have to medal on the world stage. Like that's my next goal, and so that was the motivating factor. So I went to Portugal and I medaled. I got a bronze medal on the world, in the world championships. And From there it was just like, so what is my next challenge? And so I've spent the last year looking for my pro debut and looking for something that was going to get me going, and so this is it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And we are stoked to have you, and hope to have you back after this fight too. By the way, we're like I said, we're
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
we're, we're fans. I do have a few connections in the amateur, in the Waco world, and some of the other ones too. So I'd heard about you coming up, and then it took me a minute. I run 2 businesses full time, plus I have way too many kids. So and I get hit in the head as a hobby too, so I lose brain cells constantly. So it took me a second when I can't remember if it was your coach, whoever had reached out initially about you getting on the card. It took me a second to realize who you were, and then I'm like, oh shit, I got to find somebody for her. I want her on this card. And it just so happened. I mean, Christina's. I mean, she's kind of came a different path, but similar to you. I mean, she's had a lot of fights, a lot of high profile fights around here. So I was excited when she agreed to this fight, and we're stoked for it, man. Question for you. Starting off, I know you talked about starting off in a boxing background, and that's actually where I came from too. To be honest with you, I know I'd seen your resume. You boxing, kickboxing. I think you'd said you'd had a few Muay Thai fights as well. Is there any particular discipline that you prefer out of the ones you've competed in, or are they all just kind of same, just a new challenge for you? Which rule set do you prefer?
Yeah, so I'm a kickboxer. I love to kickbox. That's my game. I really did love boxing, and I actually still work with boxing. So I have a boxing coach, and out of STL Boxing here, Reggie Thomas, and that's why I was here a few minutes after 1, because on Tuesdays I go do boxing over my lunch hour at work. I love boxing, but I once I've learned how to put it together and to use my boxing in my kickboxing fights, it's just been that's it's the love of my life. Besides my wife, actually, let me correct that. My wife and then kickboxing.
One, I've got to ask this: are you a dog person or a cat person?
Oh, I'm a dog person. I got I had three, and I just lost my old man in February. But
Oh, I'm
no,
sorry to
no
hear
cats
that.
for me.
Yeah, yeah. I've got too many animals here too. We've got both over here. But Dylan's a dog guy.
Yeah,
Dylan's got
I'm
a
a
couple
dog
German
guy. I got
shepherds.
two German shepherds. You know, I had one cat my entire life growing up. She lived to be like 19 years old. But that's the only cat I've ever had. But other than that, it's all dogs over here.
Man, I got
Yeah, I got a German Shepherd Husky mix. So
oh
Okay.
a Hey, I'm looking for a mascot for Husky Fat. You know, I'm not saying if you bring him out and let him walk you out to the ring, that'd be pretty badass. I'm just saying.
yeah, I don't know if she could be a mascot for a fighting promotion though. She's kind of she's a baby. She doesn't know how to fight. She
She's a
I call her
leopard,
my
all cuddles.
fake guard dog.
Yeah, there you go.
All they got to do is be able to get out of a mean bark. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
as
Yeah,
soon as something
she
happens,
has
you know,
that.
I got one that's kind of mean. The other one just has a very loud bark. So it's just like, all right, that's all we need to have a guard dog here. I don't think anyone is going to continue to try to come through that front door.
Man, my two dogs are worthless, but my cats, I've got three cats too for some stupid reason. My cats just terrorize the neighborhood, man. They just go around killing everything. Like they killed a goose, like brought in a goose, tried to bring in a goose through the doggy door. I don't know. I'm with you on not getting cats. They're good, but they're not. What do you do for a living outside of beating people up? What do you do for a day job?
Yeah, so I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in social work for a long, long time. Um, for the past 8 years, I supervised a crisis program for homeless youth. Um, and then back in September, I actually just moved into a quality improvement role. So I oversee programs across the state of Illinois, and just kind of, I'm the one that helps them kind of review files and understand safety risk and things like that.
That's incredible.
That's
That's awesome.
props to you because there's not enough people that do what you do, and you guys certainly don't get paid enough money. At least around here, you don't. I don't know about where you're from, but around here they don't either. So,
No,
no,
sir.
sir. You're making a difference, is what I'm saying. So that goes. You may not know it, but you do. I know a lot of people who've came from that system or who's worked in that system over the years, and it needs a lot of fixing, man. But it's good people like you, hard workers like you, who stayed at it that makes a difference in kids' lives and gives kids opportunities that they wouldn't have otherwise. So we want to thank you for that. That's really cool. You a fan of any other sports, or you just we get a mix? We get a mix. When you talk to fighters and coaches, you have some people that they're sports junkies. They like football, basketball, baseball, whatever. And you have some that they don't watch any sports ball. It's just fighting. It's fighting, and then whatever else. Are you a fan of any other sports or anything else?
No, I fight and watch fights, and between training and working, I don't really have time for much else anyway.
Oh no, that training. You're basically doing two full-time jobs right there. Is what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yes,
and a
ma'am.
part-time job.
Yeah, that's the. Well, let's talk about your main gym over there. Let's talk about the Wolves Den. Who do you have training partners out there? Who's your coaches out there? Let's give them a little bit of a shout out.
Yeah, so my the Wolves Den Training Center is owned by Andrew Ebers. We call him Mop. So he owns the program and runs most of the MMA and Jiu-Jitsu programs. My head coach is JP Mattis. So he's got a lot of kickboxing, Muay Thai experience. And I moved here from Bloomington, Illinois in 2018, and I forced JP to become my coach. He didn't really want to be a coach at that point. He was just kind of he was training and fighting himself, but I liked his style, and he was clearly way better than me. So I just kind of forced him to like me, and I just tried to work next to him always as hard as him, and then asking him things, and just over time me and my wife just got what we wanted. We just made him become our coach, and that's what happened. So he's stuck with us over the years, and he's traveled all over the United States. He doesn't go overseas too much with us, but traveled all over the United States, and I would say that there's nobody coach wise that knows me as well as JP. So
Awesome. So, does your wife fight as well?
oh yeah, my wife is also a Team USA world champion. A little more fights than I do. I think she's on 50, maybe more fights. She dabbles in MMA as well, so
Well, question for you then on that: do you get more nervous for your fights or for her fights?
definitely for her fights. Now I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, I don't even get nervous because I do. I embrace it, but man, when she's getting ready to fight, I feel like I'm gonna like throw up or crap myself. I don't know. Like, part of it is just knowing, how much we work, how hard we work, and how much she experiences those losses when they do come. So yeah, no, I definitely get way more nervous.
And I've tell people that before too. I'm nothing to speak of, but I've had a handful of amateur boxing matches over the years. That's basically the extent. I've had a million rounds of sparring, kickboxing, boxing all over. But as far as actual competition goes, I've had about a dozen amateur boxing matches. But that's something I do tell everybody. I've always gotten way more nervous, way more stressed out if I'm cornering somebody, if I'm coaching somebody fighting as opposed to me fighting. There's just and it's because you can't really control. You don't have a joystick there to control them, right? So there's more out of your hands. If you lose a fight, if the fight's on, you can say, "Well, that's on me. I didn't make the thing. It was my fault." Or if you won, you can say it was me too. But if you're coaching or you're cornering somebody, or if you're watching as a fan, you have no control over it. So I think that's what brings the additional anxiety. And especially if we're talking a significant other or a loved one like that, man, I can see where that's going to be tough to sit there and watch, especially if things aren't going the way you hope they'd go.
Yeah, true.
But man, we're gonna let you get out of here. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. Probably got to get back to one of your 12 jobs you got going on over there. But why don't you tell everybody here in Oklahoma City and nationwide what we can expect from you on May 31st? And go ahead if you got any sponsors to give a shout out to. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think I'm a dog. Like I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna mix it up. And I think that a lot of times people watch me fight and they really underestimate my speed and my angles. I come with a lot of experience, but it's intellectual ring IQ experience. I understand what's going on in there, so it's going to be a good fight. I'm really excited that Christina took the fight. Honestly, I feel like it feels kind of like she's doing the same for me that was done for her because her pro debut was against a girl who had a bunch of fights and gave her a shot, and now here she is giving me a shot. So I definitely appreciate it. I can respect that she has a lot of experience as well, and I think we're gonna meet in the middle and have some fun in the ring. So I definitely think this is one to purchase a ticket and show up for in person. I got a group coming down with me from Missouri for sure. I do want to say though that yes, my main gym is the Wolves Den Training Center, but I think it's really important to also recognize that I do have a couple other coaches that really invest in me, and STL Boxing, my coach Reggie Thomas, my boxing coach. I also work out of Metro Krav Maga and kickboxing with Tom Whitaker. He'll be out there cornering with me. And I have a exceptional strength and conditioning coach, Kane Royer, out of Relentless, with my nutritionist, Jessica Larister. So I think it's really important to put that out there because these are people that have invested in me for years and years and are really showing up this camp to push me in every way. And help me be the best version of myself on May 31st. Sponsors, shout out my wife's company, who's always my sponsor, Sweeps and Teeps. If you're looking for hand wraps, fighter gear, particularly if you're a woman, excellent brand, Sweeps and Teeps. Bougie Pens, Show Me Reptile. They put on reptile shows all over Missouri and Illinois. Super cool if you like, snakes and critters like that. And yeah, I think that's it for right now. Hopefully, gonna grab a few more before the fight time comes. So,
Absolutely.
thank you
Well,
guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Liz, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and we look forward to see you here in basically a month away. We're 4 weeks out.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care of yourself. We'll see you soon.
Yep. Thank you.
Liz, the Heathen Helton.
Man,
I'm telling you,
she is highly experienced. So
Hi-
it's definitely going to be super fun to have her in the ring. Being up. a lot of people, get a lot of experience, but they fight in the United States. She's been able to get a lot of experience, obviously, in those 42 fights. No telling how much she's sparred, but being able to go to different countries all over the world, each one's having a different style and everything like that. So that's really cool.
No, it really is, man. What she said, and I've never even really looked at it that way, but it's very similar. It's kind of like how Christina started off her pro career. Like she said, a girl with a bunch more fights, bunch more pro fights than her gave her the opportunity. She capitalized on it. So I didn't even look at it that way, but there is some truth to that. It's now Christina is going to have a big say in how that fight ends. If it ends the way that hers and Heather Hardy's did, there's going to be a big say in that. But it's just like I said, it's just one of these fights that I'm stoked for. Both these ladies put in the work. Their resumes, their pedigree speak for themselves. It's just time to go out and have some fucking fun,
Absolutely.
All I'm gonna say is, if after that interview that doesn't inspire you to go get a ticket to come watch that,
right?
I don't know what the hell you're doing with your life.
Because these are going to be two of the highest level fighters that we've had in any single Husky Fat card, and we've had some of the highest level fighters that you can get without being, MMA or UFC and stuff like that. We've had former UFC fighters who were on the Contender Series and everything like that as well.
Yeah, we've had a few.
So, I mean, it's this one right here.
I can't wait to see the tension at the weigh-ins.
I know.
Man,
I can't wait to announce both of these ladies.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I'm stoked.
It is going to be on another level. So, where do we go to get tickets, Dylan?
You go to huskyfat.com.
Huskyfat.com. That's where you go.
Huskyfat.com.
Click if you're supporting a fighter. Click on the fighter's name when it asks where you're hearing about the fight. Click on them. Make sure they get that credit. Make sure they get that commission. So if you're coming in to support Liz, make sure you do that. If you're supporting Christina, we're going to have more fighter interviews as this thing goes on. We've got multiple title fights on this thing, man. Obviously, we had them face off last weekend at the Dog Pound. I thought it went well, or was it last weekend? Weekend before.
The weekend before.
A game and Monster Box. They're going to be fighting for the super welterweight title. That's going to be a scrap. That's going to be something you don't want to miss the press conference on that either. That's going to be a good one. What else we got going on here? Oh yeah. We've got a super welterweight amateur title on the line too. Jason Ramirez. That was just announced. Jason Ramirez out of VFit in Dallas. Shout out to Coach Robert over there in Muay Thai Pena there. He won his fight in Ardmore in November, which gave him the chance to fight for this title, and he's going to be fighting Adam the Juggernaut Farrell is making his return.
He's back.
Nice.
Man.
He's
making
back 5-0. 5-0 for us, right?
4-0 for us, 5-0 total. Ramirez is 5-2. So once again, we're talking about, regionally speaking, you're not going to make a much better amateur title fight than that.
Yeah.
And then you got the heavyweight, the amateur heavyweight title with AJ Ray and
Dale, the champ.
Yeah.
Champ. Dale Turner, yes sir. We've got that heavyweight title in the mix.
A bunch
also,
of spinner belts on the line.
We're heading out spinner belts for days, man. 4 days.
That's 4 right there.
Yeah, and we've got a, that's not even, we've got. Of course, we can't have a Husky Fat show without the Sandman, right? It just don't. It don't make sense.
He's a part of Husky Fat. Always shout out to Eddie. Husky Fat, obviously, we continue to grow, but Husky Fat wouldn't be where we are, or it wouldn't be as far along and everything like that with high-level fights if it wasn't for Eddie. He's definitely put his blood, sweat, and tears into this, so I always appreciate him. It's always a blast having him in the ring and everything that he can help do, especially for the fighters, because obviously we talk about him a lot, and if for the new viewers or anybody out there who's curious to know who Eddie is, Eddie, owner, coach over at Killer Breeze Kickboxing of Ardmore. So not only does he train to get these fighters ready, but he's also training to get himself ready. So he's definitely a huge hype piece. Got a lot of buddies who are definitely Eddie fans. So a lot of them always ask, okay, is Eddie going to be on this fight card and everything like that? So it's really cool.
Yep, he's going back to the small gloves. Jonathan, the Junkyard Dog, Gary. Jonathan's been around forever. He's fought who's who. If you go look at his resume, man, he fought Takanori Gomi in Japan to start off his pro career, if that tells you anything. So he's fought all over the place. Jonathan's fought for us before. So we're excited to have him back. These are two veterans that are going to put on the small gloves and bang it out in kickboxing. Man.
He fought at the Criterion, correct?
Yep. He fought at the Criterion. Lost the decision, but once again, it was a high. Jameez Taylor's a high level guy. He's out of the same area that Liz comes from, out of St. Louis out there. And so yeah, and we've got a bunch more fights on here that we're going to go over.
I mean, that's 5 fights right there that are already. Those fights alone should just bring you to it to watch it.
And
Not to mention all the.
the Devin Lion's on it, right?
Who?
The Lion.
Yeah, Brian the
Brian
the Lion McVeigh. Brian the Lion McVeigh. He's making his return, and he's taking Davis Horacio Jr.
Yep.
Which Davis, he's another one of these guys. He's a highly decorated kickboxer, man. He holds multiple pro belts in kickboxing from other organizations. Now he's taken a step up. He's normally a light heavyweight, but he's wanting to stay active, so he's taking this fight at heavyweight against Brian. So we're excited to see that. We've got a few more. We've got a few more announced. One or two that there's been a few issues we got to get ironed out on, but more announcements coming soon. But the bottom line is, you're going to have, anytime you go to a Husky Fat Card, you're going to have 12 to 15 high level fights. You know, the prelims are going to be fire. They're just going to warm you up for the main event. You know.
Then you get to hear me screaming, yelling, getting the crowd hype, getting the fighters hype. So
we've never been to the Oklahoma City Convention Center before, but we're excited for it. It's going to be a banger. There's going to be plenty of room, plenty of space, plenty of food for everybody. We're working out the details on where we're going to have the press conference and face-offs the night before, but that'll be announced. You guys want to come to that? That's always a good time. You know, we got Josh rolling out the DJ booth out there. We've got we get to see let these guys talk their opinions, and we do it just like very similar to how the UFC does theirs. Just because if you don't have press credentials doesn't mean you can't ask a question. Ask a fucking question.
Anybody can ask a question. You could just be there for dinner or coming out to have a drink, and you're like, oh, what the hell's going on over there? You go over there, you can step up, ask a question to these fighters. You know, hey, what are y'all doing over here? Or, hey, you know, what's your favorite food? Any question it may be. Or, hey, why do you want to punch this dude's teeth in? Anything.
Exactly. Let them have it. Well, let's. I want to give the floor to you guys for a second. We'll switch gears a little bit because
I got a question first, though.
No, okay, let's go.
Have you ever heard the song "Riding Spinners" by 3 6 Mafia?
No, I haven't.
I think that should be like the song we play when people win the spinner belt.
That ain't a bad idea.
I have to hear that.
You haven't heard it either?
I'm sure I have, but I'm terrible with song titles.
I'll play it.
I'm kind of the same
I'll play it
way.
after the. You probably ain't heard it. It's a very hip hop African American culture song.
I'm a hip hop head, man. I'm just not a 3 6 Mafia guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna play it after we come.
We come from a different generation of hip hop, right? Like mine was good. Yours, you kind of miss.
Well, hold on. My era had a good run.
Yeah.
My era had a good run. It ain't the millennials. But I had the Carter 2 Wheezy. You don't even know about that either. That's good there.
Not a lifestyle I'm aware of.
But not to get off topic, I'm gonna play that after the air. I think I got an idea. Okay.
All right.
I just had to share it because I'm gonna forget.
Okay. All right.
So
We
make
put
sure
that out there in the
okay.
atmosphere. One, Thunder handle business.
Handle business.
They sweep 4-0. Last 2 games, they look like shit, but they still won. So we'll take it and move on down the road. Hopefully they play better next series, though, because whether they play the Nuggets and the Clippers are going to beat the shit out of each other anyways, right?
Yes, yeah.
So hopefully that their old guys are worn down a little bit, and we've got plenty of rest. So the advantage to us, but we got to play better. We got to play better than we played the last 2 games against either one of those teams.
No, and then it looks like Golden State and Minnesota are more likely. They're both up 3-1 in their
Yep.
series, so those should play each other. And I don't know if anybody watched the Golden State game last night,
They were
but
fighting.
Draymond is literally the dirtiest.
How
player
did he not get kicked out of the game after that second? Because it looked like they called a technical on him, and he'd already had one, but then he didn't get thrown out. What happened?
It was like what did you say, a flagrant and then a T? So yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird as shit. It made no, he kicks, and you can say he made it look like an accident, but he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
He kicked the
He's a
guy in the
pro.
head, and then when he came up, did you watch him kick him in the nuts too? When he kicked his leg up,
Yeah.
he kicked him in the head, kicked him in the nuts, and then he grabbed his
his
jersey
jersey.
and tried to pull him down, and the guy was trying to help him up.
Yeah, he has mastered how to be a dirty player and make it look like an accident. But they started fighting so early in the game, I was like, this is going to be a long game.
Yeah, Steph was getting into it with. Of course, Brooks is basically another version of Draymond. He ain't much different.
Yeah.
You know, he plays dirty all the time, man.
Yeah.
So
who's worse as far as
scratching going on here? Feedback? Yep. You hear feedback in
I
yours?
did, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded better there. Who's
Yep.
more of a pest, more annoying, Beverly or Brooks?
Oh, I mean Beverly probably just because he's on the ball more. He's got a little
Yeah.
bit more experience. Brooks is just one of those guys. He don't look like he's all there. Like he looks like he looks like he's gonna.
Short best.
He looks like he's got a mongrel forehead, but he looks like he's just gonna snap one of these days and just he's like in that what was that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio back in the days, The Basketball Diaries, where he comes out with a trench coat and the gun and just starts mowing people down in his school. That's what Brooks looks like. He's one bad call away from coming out of the locker room with a gun and just.
Jeez.
Yeah, Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you. But anyway, I guess the NFL draft happened this weekend too, which I don't follow it a whole lot, but this one was hard not to follow with all the hype behind one young Mr. Sanders and the lack of him being drafted like ESPN said he would. So I'm gonna let you guys take this and give one. You two give me your takes on the Shedeur Sanders deal. If you think it was some collusion, if you think it was just he talked himself out of getting drafted high or he wasn't that good to begin with, combination of all three. And then, two, give me your rating on how your team's drafts went. As for those of you who don't know, the greatest team on earth, the Dallas Cowboys, that is Josh's team. The other greatest team on earth, the Denver Broncos, that's Dylan's team. They both bleed team colors.
We're matching up in the Super Bowl this year.
They're way more invested than they should be
Like that.
watching men in tights hug on each other. But I support it because they like it. So, first, give me Dylan. What's your Shedeur Sanders take?
Honestly, so I'm a big, obviously, betting guy. Prize Picks had a thing out there.
Brought to you by Mountain Dew Zero.
Yeah. Prize Picks had a thing out there. Where do you think Shador's going to go? Under, over 11.5? I picked over. But that's just because, yes, he has a lot of hype behind him because of, who he is, is Deion's son and everything like that. But if you truly actually watched him play football, I believe that he has an average at best arm. He hangs around or holds onto the ball way too long, hangs in the pocket. I think probably on average held the ball for like 10 seconds. And then also doesn't move the best, which is weird being Deion's son that you're not super fast as well. But not to mention that, you play a year and a half, 2 years in actual D1 football because, obviously you get some players who are going to be able to play in Division II or what was Jackson State, HBCU?
HBCU,
Yeah.
And everything like that. But we all know there's different levels. Obviously any college can produce a NFL athlete, but the level of competition that they play against. So even at Colorado, he was 12-13. So it's not like he was going out there and just dominating.
Do you think think there was collusion on him not getting drafted? That's what I'm curious
don't,
about.
just because
I think there was.
maybe a little, but I just think it came down to his play, his style. He double taps the ball before he releases it, so it drops back and then one of these and then goes to throw it. So if that's something that you can't fix, DBs in NFL are going to be able to read that, break on the ball, and you're going to throw even more than 10 interceptions that you threw at Colorado against Big 12 terrible defenses. So, maybe a little just because they didn't want to have to deal with Deion.
Yeah.
And everything like that. But I also don't think he was an elite quarterback who should have went in the first round. I think probably fifth round is where he belongs. I think that should be good for him just because it takes that hype essentially away to where I was, top 10 pick. Now I got to go out and produce. Well, not necessarily. You're, fifth round pick now. Now if you go out and you produce, you can make all these namesayers and everybody like that almost eat their words because they didn't think that you were going to have the talent.
Did you think his interviews, how he interviewed, had something to do with it too?
Probably, just because I don't think they were very professional. Just obviously, hat on backwards, talking about, I'm Shedeur. This is who I am. I'm going to come out and I'm going to ball this, that, and the other, and just almost making it to where he's like, if you're not who I want to play with, I'm not going to play for you type thing. Coaches don't want that. They want someone who's going to go out like a Cam Ward, for instance. Even any videos that you see together of Cam Ward and Shedeur, Cam's talking about, who he's a football player. He wants people to remember him as a football player, not what else he does. So Shadeur's more, oh, look who I am. I'm Deion's son. I'm going to go out. I want people to just know that I'm just this hot shot. I'm this big name person. and he's more of a selfish type player, and it shows when after they beat whoever it was, Colorado, one of those teams where he went over to the student section and showed his Rolex and shit like that.
Every team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I think he went where he deserved.
He's got that swag about him. He gets it from his dad. I don't.
His dad earned it though. What
yeah,
did he do?
But they're trying. Maybe it's a fake it till you make it deal. Maybe he's better.
Deion came into the league like that though. Before everybody knew Deion as Deion in the league, Deion was always.
I was living in Florida. That shows you everybody know how old I am. But I was living in Florida. I was a kid, but I was living in Florida when Deion played for Florida State, and Florida State was actually my favorite team when I lived in Florida. Then even when I moved to Tennessee, I was a Florida State fan. So I was a big Deion fan when I was a kid, like just coming up through college. And I was a Deion fan. I was a Deion fan in the NFL too, and I wasn't a fan of any of the teams he played for. He was just fun to watch. It was excitement, right? Anytime he was back there returning punts, you know something was going to happen, right? There's a chance his dumbass was either going to fumble the ball because he was carrying it with one hand, or he was going to score a touchdown. You know?
Yeah, I think too. It didn't help that he didn't participate in the pro day or combine.
What's your take, Josh?
Mine's is going to be less winded because we have a lot of common stuff, but I think he went in where he should have went as far as quarterbacks after I said the second pick.
Yeah.
So what was it, Dart that went to the Giants? Dart?
Dart.
I think
Dart.
I think on paper you can argue that he's better than Shadura just because he played in SEC his whole time. So if you put his numbers up basis Shadur's numbers in HBCU and then playing in Colorado, which Colorado played next to nobody. I do think Shadur is right in that rim. Of course, a lot of why he didn't get picked up is who wants to deal with the shit show.
Yeah.
I do believe that. And to piggyback what he said, his press conference interviews, it was, I'm here. Pick me. You're going to see. Well, no, we got some questions we want to know. Your pop's saying what teams you're going to play for and not play for. These owners of these football teams are billionaires. They don't care about you. We'll get somebody that fits our program that we don't have to have a headache with. So all of that, and then, I think it's a little bit of they wanted to let Deion and the Sanders know that, you don't run the NFL. You're not going to come in the NFL and run the NFL, nor run my franchise. So I think all that in combination.
That's what I think it was more. That's why I started talking. That's why I thought there was a little bit of collusion involved, which if they can prove that, it's going to make the Sanders boys even richer than they already are. If they can prove that there was some collusion amongst owners.
But I think it needed to happen. I think it was a humbling experience for him. And they might have lit that fire and put that chip on his shoulder that, may turn him into the next Hall of Famer.
We'll see.
We shall see. But with that being said, him going to the Browns, I'm probably going to get a Shadura Sanders jersey with the Browns on it.
My man.
Really?
For sure. Oh, yeah,
My
man.
man.
I'm a Shadura fan, man.
Yeah.
Well, you can say all you want to say about his antics and what he does off the fields, and it's all for show. It's a show. It's all for entertainment.
He's a showman.
And that's what his dad does. But there's so many players that do all kind of stupid stuff. You can go down and listen all kind of sports. But it's how you perform on the field. Can you back it up?
He's going to get his chance.
I think he's going to get a chance to do so, and I think he's going.
Now
It's going to be a QB battle between him and Gabriel.
Unfortunately,
I don't think Gabriel is
they're
nowhere near.
They're gonna start old man Flacco. They'll start old man Flacco to start the season, and then they'll cut Kenny Pickett or whatever his name was. He's going to get cut. That just shows you how organized the Browns are. They just sign a guy. They're going to turn around, draft two quarterbacks, and then they're going to cut him.
Is Watson out? Did they say he's out for this whole season?
They didn't know yet because he hadn't came back from the massage parlor yet.
Yeah, they're massaging out that injury.
What's crazy though is he literally tore it after tearing it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Browns are my team, unfortunately. For my Browns' sake, I hope he succeeds. For his sake, I hope he proves them wrong. I will say, interviews and hype and drama be damned. If you got the talent, they'll still draft you number one. Caleb Williams came with all kinds of drama with him too. Him and his dad both were talking about his dad just not as near as high profile, obviously, as prime time, right? Yeah. But they were talking about, we want a vested interest in the team. We want a percentage of ownership and blah blah blah. Yeah. And the NFL just laughed at him and said nope. And they still drafted him number one. So the point is, if he had Caleb Williams' talent, he would have still been drafted.
Absolutely.
There.
Just like if you go jump basketball, when the Ball Boys came and his dad made all that noise, they still got drafted.
Yeah.
And they ball. It's because of their talent. So again, and also in this draft, it wasn't a QB draft this year.
No.
It
I'm not sold Cam Ward's going to do anything.
I don't know about that one. That man's nice.
He is nice.
And
him coming back and staying.
My son's a Titans fan. Obviously, he lives in Nashville, and so he, for my son's sake, like I said, I root for my friends' teams more than I root for my own team. I really don't give a shit that much. But so for their sake, I hope he performs. But honestly, Jackson Dardis, who I thought was probably the safest bet out of that whole pick, I thought he had the most experience. He's played in college football in the SEC at a high level for the last 12 and a half years. He's like 37 years old. Yeah, he's like 37 years old. He's got the game. He's very similar to your quarterback, to Bo Nix, right? He's got all that game time experience.
But he's not going to do nothing special.
No, he's going to be good. Yeah. He's not going to be great. He was your safest pick at quarterback, right? Yeah. I don't, as much as I want to see him do good, I just don't see. I will be shocked if Shedeur is more than just a flash in the pan. He's going to be one of those guys, and he's not going to really have a chance. He's going to be one of those guys, if he makes one good pass, you're going to see ESPN showing the one good pass. He makes one bad pass, they're going to just skip all the highlights of all the other teams and show the bad pass. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, just like the draft. There's so many good players that was in the draft, but all we kept worrying about was when's Shedeur going. But there's so many great things that happen.
How does Mel Kiper still have a job?
I don't know. He just – honestly, the only thing I felt bad about the whole draft process for Shedeur was the prank phone call.
Yeah, that was somebody took that kid ass. Yeah.
And it ended up being one of the Falcons coach's sons.
Yeah.
Apparently they pranked 2 or 3 guys too.
Yeah, I think so, because apparently the same area code coming from that. So, I mean, but you got to think, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids, that's funny to you. You know what I'm saying?
He was 21.
Oh, shit. Never mind.
At 21, that's still fun. At 45,
maybe not.
That's still that's still pretty funny to me. I wouldn't do it. But I still think it's funny.
But in his prank defense, he called and said, "This is Atlanta Falcons, and we want to let you know that we're not drafting you." So he didn't say that they was drafting him.
Yeah,
but he kind of let him on. Didn't he say like, "Hey, man, just wanted to let you know."
The intro, yeah.
Like so he automatically thought, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, we're not drafting you. Good luck though."
We'd have to catch.
You're gonna have to wait a little longer.
Have to catch a fade.
So I mean, I kind of felt bad for that, and now there's people coming out like, "Oh, someone needs to get in trouble." Yada yada yada. What are you gonna do? How do they need to get in trouble? Like, it's not like they did anything against the law.
No. I mean, anybody could have called them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a get in trouble. Grow up. The kid's still going to get an opportunity to, play ball, to live out his dream, you know. So that's the main thing. So, anyway, I just kind of wanted you guys to take on that.
My Cowboys, we got our offensive linemen. And then we did defensive rusher. But I was a fan of drafting Blue from Texas.
Well, that's just because he's from Texas.
Well, no, not just because he's from Texas, but he fits.
He fits balls, and you'd still be like, "Oh, I'm happy with it."
I'm about to tell you why. I think he fits our offense because we throw the ball a lot to the running back, and then we have our block back.
You got Shedeur then too. Dink, dink, dink.
That wouldn't have been a bad pickup after as deep in the draft as he got.
Seriously,
we don't have a quarterback.
Seriously,
I'm telling you, Joe.
What's your draft grade?
I didn't see what our total draft.
No, I want
my opinion.
Your draft grade.
I give us a C, solid C.
Dylan,
our first pick was Jahdae Barron, who cornerback from Texas, another Texas guy. So shout out Josh there.
First of all, we had 3 first-round draft picks from the University of Texas.
Yeah. Honestly,
how many do you have?
Though.
Yeah, I think he was probably top 2
Yep.
DBs in the draft, if not number 1, the best DB in the draft.
You think over Travis Hunter?
Well, when you think just solely, that's what I'm saying, top two. But you got to also think. I think Travis Hunter 2 receiver DB, just strictly DB.
DB, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Travis Hunter ain't gonna play much wide receiver.
No, he needs to
he's
play
gonna
DB.
I think he's gonna come down on third down. It's not if you throw you off. But go
No,
ahead.
you're good. So I really like that pickup just because obviously Riley Moss struggled a little bit when he came back from that injury last year. It definitely showed in the Bengals game. Higgins had a massive, massive game against us. So it's nice to see him come in, and then he gets to go side by side with the best DB in the NFL, being Pat Surtain, the second defensive player of the year last year. So I mean, it's nice to be able to learn from a great who's already in there. So that's going to be really nice. We did add a couple more edge rushers, I believe. Let me double check. A couple more edge rushers, a punter, which is weird, and then we did get another running back who I'm actually curious to see from UCF, RJ Harvey. He's like a bowling ball. He's 5'8" and weighs like 210 pounds. So he's like a bowling ball essentially. So I'm hoping he can
31.
Yep.
32.
And the one
Bounces
thing
off of him. Can't see him behind those linemen.
we added Evan Ingram in the offseason. Our last pick of this draft in the 7th round, we picked up a 6'7" tight end. So I'm kind of curious to see how we're going to implement him because obviously you don't have to be fast, but if you're 6'7", that's huge body.
If you got hands like plywood, though.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious to see kind of how it works. The one thing I am still concerned about is receiver. Yeah, Mims was starting to come around last year at the end of the year. I think Cortland Sutton, obviously he's our number one receiver, but I don't think he's a number one receiver. I think he's a high-end 2 who's forced to be a number 1. So I still think we got to get some work there. I don't know if we'll continue to do something in the offseason before the season starts, trying to work out some trades and do that.
I'm sure y'all do more than we're going to do.
But overall, the pieces that we added, we needed some edge rushers. We needed some better run defense. So I think we added that.
What's your grade overall?
Probably like a B.
So we got a B. We got a C.
Yeah.
Solid
I just
C.
don't think – I think we should have got more receivers just because, like I said, Mims is coming around. Franklin, yes. Valet gets hurt. Franklin and Bo Nix, who were teammates in Oregon, haven't really got that connection back in the NFL yet, which obviously last season was their first season doing it, so maybe they'll find that in the offseason. But I was hoping we would get somebody in the receiver department, but we'll see what kind of trades we go after or whatnot. But, yeah, I think a B. I don't think it could be much more than that if it was. So.
Gotcha. Well, all right then. I haven't paid attention at all to the draft.
Let's see what your Browns got.
I mean, it doesn't matter what they got. They're still going to suck.
So y'all got a defensive tackle, Mason Graham, with your 5th pick.
Don't care. Anyways,
He's
go ahead.
6'4", 300 pounds. You got a linebacker with your 2nd pick. And then also in the 2nd round, you got a running back. Judkins actually could be really good for y'all.
They do need another running back. 'Cause Chubb's always hurt.
Then y'all got a tight end who's 6'3", 240. And then y'all got 2 running backs. Then you got Dylan Gabriel. Then you got Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. He could be a really good running back for y'all. He's 5'8", 200 pounds, so another little like bowling ball type. And then Shador.
I'm gonna give us an A++.
Okay, I respect it. I mean, you got 3 of your 5 needs, so
Oh boy,
that's nice.
May 31st, guys. That is the big show. Summertime vibes. Kicking it in Bricktown. We are about to. We should have the venue for the weigh-ins and press conference here lined up pretty soon. So pay close attention to that. We got more fight announcements coming up here soon too. And I know we didn't get to all of the ones we've announced we've already announced just today, but we'll get to them next week. We've got more fight interviews coming in the future. We're working on some big names to come on the podcast too. It's probably not going to happen until after this fight night, but we've got some big names coming on. We've got some big things happening here at Husky Fat. So if you're not following us on all the socials, we're on a bunch of them. We're
Facebook, Instagram, the X. We are on
YouTube. We're on TikTok.
Spotify.
You know,
Spotify.
the funny thing
All of
about TikTok is I don't even have the app, right? I don't know how to get on there. I don't know any of this. But I had my daughter yesterday pull it up to see how many followers we had. And I just told her I'd give her $1 for any followers she added. So she started sharing all her stuff. So now we got a bunch of 13-year-old girls that follow us on TikTok.
That's hilarious. Also, we posted our amateur heavyweight rankings and our amateur 145, which is featherweight as well.
I always forget the 145, the featherweight.
Featherweight rankings. So we'll continue to drop those. Probably 2 weight classes a podcast.
Yeah, unless we get crazy and do 3.
Some 2 or 3. Never going to be 1. Probably not going to be 5.
We got we're going to do a little. We got some promo videos that are in the works that are coming out soon to kind of give a little bit more in depth to training camps to these fighters coming up. So stay tuned for that. Husky Fat app, you're going to get all of that right there. So make sure you download the app. It's the best $4.99 that you can buy in this economy. You're going to get your money's worth out of that. I promise you.
Absolutely, no tears.
No tears.
No tariffs.
No tariffs. Well, guys, anything else we want to add for today?
No, I don't think so. Scott, you know what to tell them.
From us to you, be good to each other. Until next time.
Peace.